Well, it sounds simple, but the city says it could make a big difference. It's boxes like these in Walgreens. You open them up and you can drop off any medications to avoid letting them fall into the wrong hands. A handful of pills can cause an overdose, and just a few can kickstart the road to addiction. Health experts say too many people have them lying around the house, ready to fall into the wrong hands. And tossing them down the toilet isn't the answer either.
From an environmental perspective, we really don't want people flushing these drugs down the toilet. That can and has caused problems in the aquatic wildlife.
That's why Walgreens, some pharmaceutical companies, and Blue Cross Blue Shield teamed up to make drug disposal a lot easier.
We found that oftentimes our members just did not know where to take unused medication.
Now, you can drop them off at 12 locations in the San Antonio region, free of charge any time of year.
It keeps the drugs that are no longer needed out of medicine cabinets just waiting to be misused.
The city's opioid task force says a service like this was top priority, but there's more in the works too, including training community members on how to use naloxone and Narcan to reverse overdoses and airing PSAs around town to make sure people handle prescription drugs properly.
Make sure that folks know not only how to safely dispose of medications, but also keep them under lock and key and make sure you're aware of them.
And you can find a full list of locations where these drop-off boxes are available at our website. That's kens5.com. Live from inside Walgreens, Erica Zucco, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.